All right, all right. Well, listen, I am so excited to kick off this month and to start talking about Jesus and the birth of Christ and what we get to celebrate and be reminded of during this season. And I love December. I love Christmas. I love being able to reflect on the incredible, gracious, generous gift that our God, our Heavenly Father, sent to us through Jesus. And I want to start off real quick before we get into today's message, because today's message is going to be a little different. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to enjoy it. But I want to start off reading a section of verse that's found in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 7. And I'm going to go through 10. It says, "Throughout the coming ages, we will be the visible display of the infinite, limitless riches of His grace and kindness, which was showered upon us in Jesus Christ. For it was only through this wonderful grace that we believe in Him. Nothing we did could ever earn this salvation, for it was the gracious gift from God that brought us to Christ. No one will ever be able to boast, for salvation is never a reward for good works or human striving. We have become His poetry, a recreated people that will fulfill the destiny He has given each of us, for we are joined to Jesus, the Anointed One. Even before we were born, God planned in advance our destiny and the good works we would do to fulfill it." You know, I love this season because it's just a great time to remind ourselves and reflect. And this morning, I want to share with you a little bit. And, you know, I don't know how God talks to you, but God talks to me. Maybe it's in a unique way. Maybe it's how He talks to everyone. But God will often meet me right where I'm at. And God will talk with me while I'm in the middle of enjoying and pursuing things that I'm passionate about. And I believe that God meets you where you're at, and He'll meet you with your passion. Now, I have two passions other than my family and church, but two things that are earthly passions that I enjoy to participate and research and partake in. And the first one, some of you like this, some of you won't, but the first one is soccer. I love soccer. Now, I know some of you are like, "Oh, soccer's great." Some are like, "Boo, I've heard all of it." It's okay. It's fine. It's great. I love it. I love playing it. I love coaching it. I love watching it. My favorite team is Manchester United. They're doing terrible right now, and it drives me nuts. But it's okay. I'm gonna breathe through it, and we'll get through it. But I love soccer. I love joy. I love doing. I get to enjoy it with my sons. They play, and it's just great. But this other thing that I love, and I spend a lot of time on, I spend a lot of effort, is something I think maybe more of you will get into it. But the second thing that I just love, I am passionate about, is coffee. I love coffee. I don't know if any of my coffee people are out here. I'm sure a lot. How many people here, you've already had at least one cup of coffee today? At least, right? I mean a lot of hands going up. Some people two. Some people have got it with you. You're here. You're my kind of people. So I love coffee, and I love exploring coffee, and I really enjoy it. And God was sharing with me a little bit when I was making my daily coffee, and I wanted to share with you the way that He shared with me, and it was about generosity, but I need a little help to do it. So I'm going to ask Philip to bring something out here, because I need a little help to be able to illustrate today what it is that I'm wanting to talk to you about when it comes down to God's generosity, because He speaks to me through coffee sometimes. And I think today you may be able to hear God through coffee. So I made just a little simple, very just standard coffee cart. And just the essentials, only the bare minimum. And I want to be able to take some time and to look at something of a process, and something that a lot of us understand and a lot of us look at. Philip, great job. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, that's great. Philip messed up first service, so I had to make fun of him. To be fair, he says I messed up, but I know that's impossible, so we'll blame Philip instead. That's a lot easier. So here it is. Coffee. I like coffee. I like studying coffee. I like learning about the differences of coffee and origins of coffee and preparation methods. And there are so many different styles of coffee and brewing methods. I mean, it's infinite. You go on the internet, it is a hole of which you can lose a lot of time in. But I want to kind of highlight a couple and look at it and draw a parallel to what God was speaking to me about. And generosity is something that's inside of us. It's a need. When you accept Jesus, there's something internally that's birthed in you that is a need to be generous. It's a desire to be generous. It's there. It even can at times be almost a nagging sensation because Jesus was generous. The God was generous. He gave us Jesus, and that generous spirit is inside of us, and we have this need. And some of the things in this parallel is, for a lot of people, there's this need that we wake up with, and it's a need for a little bit of caffeine. You need it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying it's right, but I wake up and I need some caffeine. If I don't have it by 10 o'clock, my world is not correct. I will have symptoms of death and other lesser symptoms. And it's just not good. And so you have this nagging need. There's this present need that you want, and you need to fulfill that need. But there's more than one way to do it. There's a lot of ways to go and get caffeine. There's a lot of ways to go and get your coffee. There's a lot of ways to get your morning routine going. And I want to look at 3 this morning. The first is one that I almost can't even say it, and it's this. Thank you. So I did not buy this. I found it in a staff member's desk. Actually, it's not. They're no longer a staff member. Not because of this. Something far. No, I'm just kidding. But this is actually this is instant coffee, and this isn't just any instant coffee. This is the lowest of the low because it's decaf. It's like the worst, the lowest form of low. I guess if you were faced with death or drinking this, I guess I'd drink this, but I don't know, maybe not. It's rough. But a lot of people, they turn to this in the morning. Maybe not the decaf, maybe the full stuff. And they turn to it not because they like it. Nobody drinks this and says, I'm so thankful that I just made that. Nobody likes it. They do it because it's easy. And if they do like it, they don't like the coffee. What they've done is they've added something to it to make it okay. Our grocery stores is a whole industry of creamers and sweeteners and pumpkin this and chai that and Irish this and candy caned and sugar pops and lemon drops and it's a whole thing. There's way too much of my grocery store refrigerated section is based on people who drink this, but they don't want to drink this. They want to just drink something else. This is just the method of caffeine and how it gets to them. No one likes this, but it's easy. It's quick. You can't mess it up because you can't make it right. So if you can't make it right, you can't mess it up. It doesn't matter. Put 1 scoop, put 12 scoops, it doesn't matter. It's just bad all around. But it's an option. It's quick. It's easy. It's there. The next option, now listen, I'll give a prerequisite. This is an illustration, okay? I don't want to get letters that you're upset with me or that you're leaving the church because I made fun of your Starbucks drink. Okay? I won't read them, nor will I repent for what I'm about to say. Okay? God has called me to bring the truth, and I will bring the truth unashamed. But some people, this isn't just, you just don't like it. You love it. You love Starbucks. You love how many locations they are. You love that you can never get away from it. Everywhere you go, Starbucks goes with you. Every place you're at. And you look forward to the holiday season because you can't wait till the new cup comes out. You just cannot wait. You have your drink. And here's the thing about Starbucks coffee. And this, we can argue later. I'll prove you wrong. But they have made an industry of what they do is they make their shots. They're espresso-based drinks for the most part. They have drip coffee, but they make espresso drinks. And most of you, if I were to give you just their espresso, you would not want to drink it. And the reason is because it would be very bitter. Very strong, burned, a very educated man said, thank you. It is burnt by definition. Argue with the creator. So you wouldn't want to drink it. And they know that. And so what they do is they add stuff to it. Like a bunch of milk or cream or spice or sugar or syrup or a frappuccino this. Or you can get what my wife got, which was not this morning. Just this morning, she got some kind of caramel, cold brewed, cold foam, cold pressed, cold hearted, disgusting, not even coffee in a glass. And so you can go to this, and this is a little, I guess it's better. Again, I would rather drink this than this any day of the week. I mean, at least I can get a flat white here, and it's some form of acceptable offering to the Lord. But it's not great. This isn't good. If you think this is good, it's not good. What they do is they take something that's not good, and they cover it up. They take something that's bitter, and they cover it up with other stuff. So the people who love Starbucks, really they like sugar or cream or vanilla sugar cream. That's what they like. And listen, no judgment. You like it, go for it. At the end of the day, I'm not asking you to give up Starbucks, okay? You can go as many times as you want. It's fine. This is just an illustration. Don't take it so seriously like I do. But there's this. And a lot of people, it's convenient. It's convenient. It's a little higher class. You like it. You like the cup. You like, yeah, I got Starbucks. Got my name on it. It's pretty cool. I called it in. Got it on the app. Reward member. That's fine. But it's not good. At the core of what it is, it's not good. Maybe the end product is something that you want to drink, but the core is not good. But there's another option. There's another option. And it's an option that a lot of people don't do because it's a little harder. It takes a little bit more time. It takes a little bit of knowledge. It takes a little bit of equipment. And it takes paying attention because it's a process. And that is a method that is the single cup pour over brewing method. It's not new. It's been around for a long time. But it's been kind of elevated. It's been being created to a perfect science of a process. And today I want to show you how it works. Because there's something interesting in this process that I want to see. And you see, there's a lot of stuff. But there's something I need to know. Before I get to any of this, I need to talk about the coffee for a second. Because you see, I've got two types of coffee. They're both from Nordagios. I like Nordagios. I like. But I got two different kinds of coffee. I've got an Ethiopian coffee here, and I've got a Colombian coffee. I'm partial to Colombian. My wife's from Colombia, for those of you who don't know, so I'm partial to the Colombians. I like them. I will not make any more jokes because it's just going to get downhill. Nope. All right, it's got to stop. Coffee and my wife, it just smells. I like coffee, and here's one of the things I like about coffee. There's a long process that before this coffee gets to me like this, it's a long process. It only grows in certain parts of the world. The land takes a special preparation to get ready. The planting takes a long time. The harvesting takes even longer. And coffee is actually a fruit. That's why it's so healthy for you. Comes from a coffee cherry. Yes, thank you. Yes. It's the seed of a coffee cherry. And they have to take that and they have to harvest it. There's dry and there's wet. There's different processes. They have to take that fruit and they have to remove the seed from the fruit. And then there's another couple layers of processing to get that seed to the point where it's ready to be shipped to the States. And then from there, at different places like Nordagios or Cirque or other places in town, it's then roasted. So that by the time it gets to me, there's been a lot of work that's done to this coffee. A lot has gone to get it here. And for me, and some people laugh at that, but I like to respect what everyone else has done to get it this far. There's been a lot of effort to get it here. And so I don't want to just do this. or do this, or throw it in a Mr. Coffee and do who knows what to it. I want to respect it. I want to give it and highlight it and treat it with the respect it deserves. You know, where my grillers at? You grill meat. You like to grill meat. You wouldn't take a beautiful ribeye or a T-bone or a porterhouse and throw it in the microwave and zap it for 5 minutes, would you? Well, of course not. We're not animals. We have some level of sophistication. So we have a process. And I'll start by saying this. As important it is to get some good beans, find yourself, and there's so many good things. We can't forget the basics, especially living in Broken Arrow. For whatever you do not use tap water if you're in Broken Arrow. That substance that comes out of your faucet that smells like a pool will not magically be transformed to something better when you pour it over something else. Use some bottled water. Let's use the tools that God has given us as the refined people of 2018, almost 2019. That's just a side note. So, here's what we've got. I have what's called a Kalita wave. That's what this is. It's called a Kalita wave. You can see how it's wavy? It's very fancy. I've got my receptacle. I have a goosenecked kettle. Very important. It's got a programmable thermostat. I need to keep it at 207 degrees. Exactly. Any hotter, I will burn it. Any colder, I won't extract the flavor. Okay? I didn't make the rules. I just live by them. I can't use this. Some of you say, well, I got a kettle. Look at this. It blows. You can't use this. This is not refined. This is for making something like tea that has no preference whatsoever. This is sloshing all over the place. I need to control what I'm doing. It's an art. Okay? So the first thing I have to do, I can't just put coffee in this. This would taste like paper. I have to rinse it. I need to go ahead and rinse this out. And so I got to go through and I got to rinse this bad boy out. I got to make sure any residue from previous things is gone. Got to get everything gone. It's going to warm up my vessel, which is very important. Don't put coffee in a cold cup. What are you thinking? It's hot coffee, not cold brewed, cold pressed, cold foam, something. Okay? So I rinse it out. I got this thing ready. It is ready to roll. Going to get rid of that stuff. Don't make the mistake of brewing into that. Now, the next thing is, I've got my cup. I've got my scale. Yeah, it's a digital scale. Yeah, I need a scale. Why? Because I'm measuring to the gram. Okay? My scale also has a timer, because, yeah, I'm going to need a timer, too. Very important. So now, I've got this. I need 25 grams, not more than 25, not 26, not 24. I need 25 grams. Why? Because 25 grams is the perfect amount to make a full cup of coffee. Because I create a 16-to-1 ratio. 16 to 1, not 17, not 12. 16 to 1 ratio. That will give me 400 grams. That means I'm going to use 400 grams of water. I'm going to use 25 grams of coffee. This is very important. If it sounds like a lot, don't worry. It's going to get worse. Okay? So look, we're getting in here. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to carefully, with love, I got to respect it. I got to respect this. Okay? It came a long way to get to me. Just like my wife. 25 grams. It's here. Seal up my bag. I don't want it to go stale. Again, some of these are just common sense of being decent. I put this in my grinder. I don't just grind it right away. I got to make sure everything's set. It's ready. I want to grind at the last moment because the freshest coffee comes right when I grind it. Make sure everything's ready. Is this ready? Is this ready? Everything's good. We're at a good place. Now I'm ready to grind. This is a really big grinder, but there are smaller acceptables. Do not buy a blade grinder. We are not animals. This is not like this. A blade grinder is for grinding spices. You need a burr grinder. Okay? Very important. Don't make me come to your house. And the first thing I'll notice once this is happening is, God is into aroma, and he's into the aroma of coffee, I promise. Oh my gosh, it just smells so good. You guys can't get it way back there, probably because your neighbor's cologne's too strong. But you know what? This is what heaven will smell like. So I zero out my scale because I want to confirm that I do indeed have 25 beautiful, lovely grams of coffee in here. And what do you know? 25 on the dot. I shake this out because I need a flat bed. And here's where the magic happens. I zero out my scale. This has a built-in timer for ease and convenience. I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to take this. I'm going to carefully, oh so slowly, add 50 grams of water to this beautiful pour over. Exactly 50. No more, no less. I'm going to give it a stir, which is a bold move, but I'm a bold guy. I'm going to give this 30 seconds. This is called the bloom. It's very important. It's what's starting to extract those oils. It's starting to really get the magic. And at 30 seconds, I'm going to add 120 more grams of water in a circular motion, starting in the middle, going out. This is going to be roughly 6 circles to get me up to where I need to be. Here I am. I'm going to stop. I'm going to let it go. I watch it. And I can't walk around. I can't watch Seinfeld while this is happening. I have to be in this moment. I'm watching it because I'm in a relationship with this. This is a process. And as it gets to a certain place, I go through and I'm going to give it 3 more circles. I'm going to start adding 60 grams at a time because my ultimate goal is 400 grams and I need to get this in under 2 minutes. If I go over 2 minutes, throw it out. You need to start over. Your grind was wrong. I'm at 2:16. We're going to move it on. We're going to keep going. You guys are distracting me. I'm in a relationship with a Colombian. Gotta watch it. It's going. You can see the beauty coming out, just like you see the beauty coming in. I just keep going in here. I want to keep it high. I don't want to let it get too low or the bed will settle and then it's ruined. Throw it out. I don't want to go too high or else it'll overflow and you'll look like a fool. Throw it out. You don't do any of this. There you go. We're almost there. I am now at 400 grams at 1:45. Acceptable. Not perfect, but acceptable. And now I wait. And I look at it and I just see, is the stream pouring directly? Yeah, it is. Is it going? This is great. And you see, this is a process. For some of you, you say, oh, no way. I will not do this. I would not do this. You should. I have a secret pleasure, and that's taking people who say they can't drink coffee without sugar and creamer, and slowly, through a process of exposure to great coffee, converting them to black coffee drinkers. It's important. It's a life mission. One conversion makes a lot. It took me a long time, but I finally got my wife there. It just took slow. She's Colombian. You'd think it would just be like innate, but no. It just took slow, and she still sometimes reverts back and falls, just like all have fallen short of the glory of God. But I know, just like the prodigal son, she'll return. And you see, this is a process, and it's a choice that I make. And I did a lot of research to get here. I watched a lot of videos to learn how to do it. And this is highly debated. Some of you who make coffee here, and I know you exist, you'd be like, oh, you went with a 16-1. Well, let me tell you what I think. Oh, you went with a stir-first method. Oh, I really highly disagree with that choice. We can talk later. But for the rest of you, at the beginning, it wasn't easy. At the beginning, I was so nervous. Like, oh, did I do it right? Did I start my timer? Did I do it? But I didn't want to give up because the result was worth it. Because the taste of what I just made is incredible. It's fantastic. It's way better than that. And I just know that if you were able to taste it, like so many of you wish you could right now, you would love it. But see, I was making this, and my wife, she humors me a lot. Because I often, in my kitchen, go on long coffee rants, of which she could care less about. She doesn't care. Because I'll talk about the intricacies of the bean. I'll talk about a new brewing method. I'll talk about some new coffee shop that tried to do something that was completely foolish. And I was doing just this the other day. And she pointed me towards something, and God was so good because, like I said, God meets you in your passion. Maybe your passion is music, maybe your passion is food, maybe your passion is dance, maybe your passion is sport, but God will meet you in your passion and reveal himself to you in it. Because whatever you're passionate about, he's passionate about. And so he began to speak with me a minute, and he said, This is like a picture of generosity. And we have this innate need. And when we're faced with an opportunity for generosity, and just fair warning, I've been all three of these examples that I'm about to give you. But when we're faced with an opportunity to be generous, sometimes because the need is there, when we know it's there, we turn to something like this. I just need to get it done. I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to care. I just need to get it done. Here's a need. Just let me scoop it up, suffer through it, and be done with it. Sometimes that's where we're at. I've been there. Maybe it's giving to the church. Maybe it's giving with my time. Maybe it's being generous to family members during a season I'm very busy. I just grit through it. And at least I can check it off. And yet, at the end of the day, the need is gone. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy the results, but it's done. The second option is the one I made a mess with. Sometimes we say, I'm going to make it look pretty. I'm going to do something great. I'm going to put a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, on the inside, at the core, we're bitter. We're bitter about the fact that we're having to do this. We're bitter about the fact that we have to volunteer. We're bitter about the fact that we have to give, that I have this incessant need. And so we just cover it up so that it can be palatable. And then we're done. But when God sowed Jesus, he could have, but he didn't sow instant Jesus. He sowed a baby that was born in Bethlehem, a baby that grew up to be a man, the one who grew and went through every emotion that you and I went through, who faced every temptation that you and I face, the one who can understand what you're going through because he's been through it, the one who walked through a lifetime of process, the one who was born as a baby in Bethlehem and died as a man at Golgotha. He didn't do instant Jesus. He also didn't do Jesus who did it reluctantly, but on the inside was bitter about it. In fact, Jesus said, I count it all as joy. See, Jesus was the third option. Jesus was the one who was into the process. He lived the process. His body, his mind, everything went through the journey. He loved people who were unlovable. He took the time to teach people who were thick and wouldn't understand. He did miracles. He walked and sought people out to find freedom for them. He lived the life of generosity through the process, and then his body was broken and sacrificed and roasted and served up for you. But there's a difference. Because you see, we're called to be this third choice. Because when you're the third choice in generosity, you can enjoy the process and savor the result. Maybe not the first time. Because you see, the first time it's scientific, it's oh my gosh, and the Bible shows you how to be generous. It'll give you the how-tos of being generous. It gives you the science, but God didn't want you to live with the science of generosity. He wanted you to live with a heart of generosity. That's found from being with Jesus. And let me tell you what happens, just like coffee. The first time I did it was hard. The second time I did it was hard. The third time I did it was hard. And then all of a sudden I started getting the hang of it, but then something happened. I bought a different kind of bean. And all my process stopped working. And it didn't work anymore. My time was all messed up. It wouldn't get poured through. It tasted terrible. And I thought I had lost my touch. And then when I realized that was impossible, I decided I need to ask a professional. So I went to Arkansas to a coffee shop called Onyx. Yes, I did this. And I talked to a barista there. And I said, here's the issue. When I'm brewing these Colombian beans, it's perfect. But when I switch to this Ethiopian, it's not working. And she said, oh, no one will tell you this. The videos don't tell you this. They always tell you it's done exactly the same every time, but that's not the case. Every bean is different, and you have to treat every bean different. You have to get to know it. You have to understand the process to that bean. And Ethiopians have to be opened up to a much coarser grind, or else it'll never go through. When it comes down to generosity, it's just like this, because now this is second nature. I don't do it by the science. Yes, I measure, because I'm a nerd. But I go off of what it looks like, because I know what the end result's supposed to be. I know what the end result is supposed to be. And now I enjoy the process. And I savor the result. When it comes down to the generosity that God's calling you to live, he's not calling you to just make an instant decision and be done with it. He's not causing you to cover something up and make it something that it isn't. He wants you to be involved in the process. He wants you to look at the opportunity. He wants you to figure out what is supposed to happen. He wants you to savor that process and enjoy it. And then the end result, love it. Because now, I love making coffee for people. You come over to my house, I'll make you a cup of coffee. If I don't have coffee, it's a great excuse to go buy coffee. Because I enjoy the process of making it as much as I do drinking it. I enjoy the process. And God's calling us to be a people that enjoys the process of being generous and walking through and saying, God, what will you have me do? How is it supposed to look? What's my grind setting got to be on? Is this a 206 or a 207 temperature? How am I going to make this work? We were never called to be instant people. Just get it done with. We were never called to be bitter givers. Jesus says he likes a cheerful giver. We were called to walk through the process. And you know what? It takes a little longer. It's not as easy. It requires a little bit more of equipment and getting to know what you're doing, getting to know what you're working with. But you know what? Just like I said, I respect everything that went into making these beans. What process did the generosity go through to get into your hands now? What has God already done for you to get to the point where you're at now? Where has he already brought you through? How many things has he already delivered? How many blood, sweat, and tears has he gone through? How many people have sowed into your life to get you to the point where you can be the answer to someone's need? Are you going to take everything that's been sown to you and just put it in an instant cup? Or cover it up with some sweet stuff? Or are you going to say, I'm going to treat this with what it deserves, and I'm going to make something amazing out of it? And listen, the end result's incredible. You have to trust me. And here's what we're going to do today. In this month, and starting today, there's 5 things that I'm going to be asking you to be generous about this month. The first is to be able, through the process, not instant, not Starbucks, but in the process, between you and God, I want you to participate in this toy drive we're doing with Loaves and Fishes. I want to bless Loaves and Fishes. I want to bless those people. I want to bless those in our church family. And I want you to participate in whatever generosity looks like to you. That's number 1. Number 2, today is the first Sunday of the month, and we take a second offering. We're going to take a second offering in a minute. It is going to be going towards our kids' departments. DK Junior, DK, DCY. And it's going to be going to 2 things specifically. One is improving our checkout process, our check-in process. If you've ever checked your kids in right before service, there's huge lines. And if you believe Disney employees, huge lines steal the magic 100% of the time. Lines are the enemy of joy. And we're a place of joy and peace. So we're going to improve it. We've beta tested some different things in DK Junior. We've got self-check-ins ready. We got stuff. And we're going to be improving the check-in process. And for youth and DK, we're going to be improving the worship environment with some audio equipment and some different stuff. And I want you, through your process, to find out what it means to be generous. The third thing, this is a heads up for next week, something I want you to walk through this week thinking about and come prepared, is next week you're going to be given an opportunity to give towards the staff's bonuses for Christmas. Not me, not my wife, the staff. They work very hard. They're all underpaid and underappreciated, but they're here because of calling, not because of compensation. But you will get an opportunity to go through your whatever it looks like, and give towards their staff bonuses this year. 100% of it will get dispersed to the staff, whatever that is. And I'm believing it'll be the greatest bonus they've ever gotten. And I'm excited to give towards it. Just like I'm excited to do the toy drive. Just like I'm excited about giving today. The fourth and fifth thing don't have to do with money, because generosity is not just about money, but sometimes time is more valuable than money. The fourth thing I want you to do is I want you to be generous with your time this month. And one of the ways, I want you to participate in the things we're doing at church. It may seem silly, it may seem crazy, but I want you to bake cookies. I want you to buy cookies. I want you to stand out in the lobby with a cup of coffee and make a friend. I want you to be generous with your time. I want you to wear an ugly sweater, bake a gingerbread house, vote on the other ones, make a friend, hang out. I want you to be generous with your time. And the fifth one is also time related. I want you to serve. Whether it's in your serve team this month, when you say, I'm just going to take December off because it's crazy, I want you to serve. I want you to volunteer. I want you to volunteer on the 15th when we get to go to Loaves and Fishes, and we need 35 to 40 volunteers at Loaves and Fishes to distribute groceries and Christmas presents to those in need. Bring your whole family, bring yourself, whatever you need to do. Sign-ups are online. I want you to be able to give. Because we all are called to generous. We have the need, and we're faced with it. Are we going to just do this? Are we going to do this? Are we going to savor the process as much as we savor the result? And I believe as a church, this is who we're called to be. This is who we're called to be. The one who takes each opportunity and gives it the respect that it deserves. So here's what we're going to do. In a second, we're going to pray. And if you haven't accepted Jesus, I'm going to give you a chance. After that, I'm going to bless the offering. The ushers are going to pass the buckets. And I'm going to invite Pastor Charlie to come up here and share with you about what we're doing in our kids' departments, and specifically in youth. Because for the rest of this month, we're going to highlight how we as a church are partnering with you, parents, to work with your kids. Because we believe in family. We believe in partnering with your family. We believe in equipping your family. But if you've never accepted Jesus, now's your time. Jesus was the greatest act of generosity and the greatest gift. And with every head bowed for just a second, I want everyone to just repeat this prayer after me. Say, Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for sending Jesus to die for me so that my sins could be forgiven. If anyone made that prayer for the first time today, just right where you're at, raise your hand up real high. Just right where you're at, be bold. I'm not going to embarrass you. See those hands? All right, any hands that are up can go down. Look at me, church. I'm excited about where we're going. I believe new things are happening. And I just can't wait to go on this journey with my church family.